for the invite, and thank you for the opportunity to be here today. Melissa, Rochester Police Department certainly applauds the CARE Foundation, One Voice for New Hampshire, Dover's Youth Program, and Rochester's Bridging the Gaps Coalition. Wonderful county, wonderful area of the state to have problems, because people like this come together very well here in Stratford County, and there's coalitions and organizations like I just mentioned that make us effective in dealing with these issues. Now I'm going to talk a little bit today about the issues in Rochester, but I see many of my colleagues, the chiefs of police from throughout the area, to include Rockingham County chiefs that are here, and I know that they would echo the things that I'm going to say apply throughout the county, into Rockingham County, and throughout our state. We've tracked crime pretty extensively in the city of Rochester over the years, and in preparation to come here today, we had our crime analysts look back to 2006 for drug-related issues and trends that could be impacted and have been impacted by the prescription drug problems that have been very well discussed so far today. We found that there are definite links between burglary and theft cases that are having drastic increases this year in particular in our monitoring of crime stats in the city. We just presented very troubling stats to our Rochester Police Commission and the political environment in the city of Rochester just this week on burglary rates, theft rates, and what the crime analyst did is she took a look at how much drug impact it was to those types of crime. And we're finding a significant portion of our increases are related specifically to drug-related issues on those crime categories. Same would hold true for robberies in the city of Rochester. We've seen drastic increases in robberies in the city of Rochester over the past several years, as has other communities in our county and throughout the state. 25% of the robberies that took place in 2011 in our city were pharmacy-related robberies, addressing exactly what the prior speakers have addressed with respect to prescription drugs, and that's significant. Deaths are another significant issue that the medical examiner just spoke of having 200 deaths in the state. 2011, well, 8 of those deaths took place in the city of Rochester. And if you consider that there are well over 200 communities in our state, 8 of 200 is very troubling to the police chief in Rochester for sure, and I'm sure the number of deaths in our surrounding communities are troubling to the chiefs and those communities also. What makes it more troubling, as people have alluded to, is just a few years ago in 2006, we only had 4 drug-related deaths in the city of Rochester. We've seen a 100% increase in that short period of time. And the medical examiner spoke to that throughout the state. This is troubling, and groups like this are really going to be needed to get it under control. I loved hearing what Captain Triano had said to Melissa. We can't police our way out of this problem. He's definitely speaking the philosophy of the Rochester Police Department. And your mention of Martin Luther King, a philosopher, a community leader who believed in synergistic behavior between people and fixing things, fixing problems in a community. That is definitely the pathway to success for problems like this. The youth risk behavior studies that the medical examiner's office spoke about, very troubling in the city of Rochester and in our region here in Stratford and Rockingham counties. State averages on those drug-related questions we're seeing in Rochester numbers very troubling to us. Coalitions like Dover's Youth to Youth, Bridging the Gaps in Rochester. These groups are extremely important for a law enforcement initiative to be effective in a community. And if you think about it, in our local communities, and we're going to see it again shortly in the city budget cycles, these are the programs that start to be threatened when we have tax revenue problems in our communities. Police departments, fire departments, school systems, all these publicly funded entities are expensive. And programs such as Dover's Youth to Youth, Rochester's Bridging the Gaps, are part of that funding scheme somewhere in municipal government. I always am scared when I see those programs as a police chief. I get very scared to see those programs threatened to be a loss. Not only in my city, but even I'll speak a little bit about Dover's Youth to Youth program. That program spurred other programs throughout the state. That's really was a model program, still is a model program, and it has helped Rochester. It has helped many communities throughout the state. It helped us get established with our Bridging the Gaps Coalition. Those programs start to go away. Those troubling youth risk behavior statistics are going to get worse. That's what 3 decades of law enforcement tells me. It's going to get worse if those programs go away. Cooperation, collaboration, work that, I see Senator Bradley's here, he's going to speak to Senate Bill 286, I'm sure, so I'll let him do that. Work such as that from the legislation. Both Senators Gruen and Merrill have signed on to that with Senator Bradley as a primary sponsor. Good work like that taking place at the State House in Concord, supported by good community groups like this, is going to be a pathway to success. Increased collaboration. We do a pretty good job here in Stratford County. We have the drug court. We've got outstanding programs in our county jail system to institute intervention programs with known folks that are going to need help that enter into the system. The mental health court does a wonderful job at the court level, diverting people that typically are going to have some type of a medication, prescription medication issue that goes along with a mental illness they may be having. The state police, as has been mentioned briefly by the Attorney General's office, great work that they're doing, helping local law enforcement train. The fusion center they run, information sharing throughout the state, coordinating law enforcement, gathering of information. When we take that information, which we can share with community groups, work with groups like this, we can be very effective together, in my opinion. It's a compounding problem for law enforcement. The deaths, burglaries, robberies, these are big problems. In any law enforcement agency, they draw extensive resources that can be better spent doing prevention and intervention work if we can free our staff up to do it and work collaboratively with folks in this room. Rochester, for instance, and I think my colleagues from other towns and cities here would have similar statistics. Rochester police officers have about 26% of their time on an average shift where they can be proactive. We study this very closely because we want to increase that proactive time as much as we can. But if the officers are responding to calls in a reactive mode, a large majority of their duty day, it's very difficult for them to be proactive and work on prevention and intervention issues in partnerships with folks like these. So as a police chief, I think I represent the other police chiefs in the room. I would encourage communities to consider these things when we talk about elimination of programs, when we talk about impacts to financial gains, what we perceive to be financial gains in cost reduction in the budget cycles of the police department. Law enforcement cannot do it alone, but I guarantee you this, you cannot do it without law enforcement. So taking care of these infrastructures in our budget cycles and in our discussions as political groups is extremely important. Happy to be here. Rochester PD, I know into the future under Mike Allen's leadership is going to continue to be a partner with groups like these, and I certainly appreciate the input.